Hey there, what's going on guys? Today, let's check out 10 seeds for Minecraft 1.18. This video features seeds in both Java Edition and Bedrock Edition due to seed parity. For coordinates and information about the seeds, there is a link in the description to a blog post on my website with all of that information. Alright, let's get started. Let's go ahead and get started with this seed here that has a mesa at spawn. This biome is a pretty decent size overall. It's also a wooded badlands biome, so you get plenty of trees. The Mesa Mountains area right at spawn looks awesome too. Really a great example of how improved the 1.18 terrain looks. I mentioned in my previous video that in my experience, mesa biomes just have some wild terrain generation in Minecraft 1.18, like you can see here. There are some crazy cave openings and whatnot throughout the biome, like here for example. It's just a massive hole in the ground. And this particular one leads right to a lush cave biome. This is perhaps one of my favorite additions to Minecraft in a long time. I love the look of this cave biome. It really provides some life underground. In Bedrock Edition, you can find this savanna village close to spawn. It stretches up into different elevation levels. This farm generating here creates some weird flat terrain. I also thought this little area next to the village looked pretty cool. In Java Edition, you can find this village near spawn. As you can see, it's also a savanna village. As is common in 1.18, we get some wild looking terrain throughout the village. Next to the village, there is a ruined portal. This is actually in the location where the village is in Bedrock Edition. Of course, ruined portals come with a little bit of loot. And on the other side of the village, there is a pillager outpost. This outpost tower generates along with a single cage. And of course, you always get that loot at the top of the tower. Of course, my main reason for showing this seed though is that beautiful mesa biome at spawn with those amazing looking wooded badlands mountains. Now let's check out this seed here, which has the unique case of being a double village seed in both Bedrock and Java Edition. Of course, while terrain may be similar for 32-bit seeds in Minecraft now, structures generate differently in both versions. So having a seed that has a spawn between villages in both versions is really awesome to find. Let's start with the Java Edition version of this seed. Towards the east, you'll find this village here. It's a small village that is in the plains and right near a jungle. I like how it's atop of the hill. The other village is towards the west. This one has a ruined portal that generates in it, and it conflicts with two buildings. Definitely a wild look. There's 3 churches in this village, and a blacksmith. Of course, the blacksmith comes with some loot inside. In both versions of this seed, there is a big cave underneath the spawn, but in Java Edition, there is a mine shaft inside of it. It's cool to see the mine shaft so exposed in the open like this. Also, the cave itself just looks incredible. Before showing the villages in Bedrock Edition, I just want to mention that there's also a mesa biome close to spawn in this seed. The coordinates I'm providing are right next to a ravine-like cave opening. This opening leads right into a dripstone cave. Of course, it's just nice having a mesa biome close to spawn in any seed. Now in Bedrock Edition, the first village sits in a similar location as Java Edition. The village has 2 churches, and it sits atop the Plains Hill and near the jungle. The other village is also in a similar location to the one in Java Edition. As I said, it's unique to have such similar structure generations in both versions. This village has plenty of buildings to explore. There's also a pillager outpost nearby too. It's in a savanna biome with a tent, 2 cages, and a log collection. Of course, with a chest at the top of the tower. This seed is truly unique with it having villages in such similar locations near spawn. Next up, we have an incredible seed which was posted to Reddit by Smurgly. The spawn generation of this seed is actually quite beautiful. It has some jungle islands with some massive stone peaks. Some of the screenshots from the Reddit post really show how cool the terrain looks. It's one example of some of the great terrain generation that we get in Minecraft 1.18. In both Java and Bedrock, we get some ocean monuments near spawn. You can see some of the closest monuments on screen now with the coordinates. In Java Edition, there is a village that generates on one of the islands, with the village being right on the edge of plains, stony shore, and an ocean. It creates an insane look. Some of the village is atop of the massive cliff, some of it generates at the bottom on the edge of an ocean, and some of it generates in the middle of the cliff. It looks so crazy. The village also has a blacksmith village, of course with some loot inside of it. This village puts into perspective how incredible these spawn islands look. And finally, to top off how incredible this spawn is, I wanted to show you this area here. The terrain here generates this beautiful area with massive cave openings. This area has endless building opportunities, and it just looks incredible. One of the massive openings leads right into a lush cave. I think this increases what you can do with the building in this area too, and it increases the overall beauty of this area. This seed has such an incredible spawn with these islands, it looks absolutely amazing. Alright, now we have this seed, which is another one that shows the beauty of the new Minecraft world generation. The seed generates with a circular area of mountains around spawn, and in the middle of the mountains you get a meadow. This type of world generation is a quick favorite of mine. I love the idea of building in the middle of the mountains with them acting as a natural wall around a city or a town. The mountains also have openings that lead right to dripstone caves. These various dripstone caves add to the uniqueness of this area, adds to how cool the area looks overall. On the outside of the mountain, you can find this village in Bedrock Edition. Villages having a mountain as a backdrop are easily becoming a look in Minecraft that I love. The mountains look pretty wild here too. In Java Edition, you can find an igloo outside of the mountains within some powdered snow. This igloo has a basement in it, which of course has the zombie villager transformation tutorial thing, along with some free loot. The spawn of this seed, with the meadow surrounded by mountains, has some great potential as a building area in my opinion. Now for this next seed, we have a spawn in a dark forest on the edge of an ocean. In Java Edition, there is a woodland mansion super close by. I'm giving you the coordinates to the front entrance of the mansion. On the bottom floor, I found a couple of rooms for crops. On the middle floor, I found an arena room with some loot on the top section. And on the top floor, there is 10 rooms, including 2 arena rooms, of course, both with loot. The main reason I wanted to share this seed though, is that there is a mushroom island right in the ocean near spawn. And look how big the island is when looking at the map of this seed. The biome is absolutely massive. So awesome having the rare biome near spawn. Within the island, there is this ravine and cave opening that leads right down to an amethyst geode. So if you're looking for one of those, well, this is one way to get to one, even if it's half open. Of course though, having such a massive and rare biome, the Mushroom Island, near spawn is what makes this seed worth checking out. Getting into the final 5 seeds here, we have another spawn area with a circular area of mountains at spawn. Within these stony peaks, you can find a jungle and forest area. Like we saw with the stony mountains and meadow seed earlier, the mountains here have some openings that lead to dripstone caves. The dripstone adds some nice detail within the cave opening here. Just adds a bit of an atmosphere within it. I wanted to show this massive opening in the cave here. I don't know, just thought it looked cool. In the spawn area, I can picture the trees getting cleared out and a spawn town or spawn building, similar to what I talked about earlier in Seed 7. Close to spawn, you can find a mesa biome. I've already discussed why I really like mesa biomes in Minecraft 1.18, so I won't discuss that any further here, but what I will say is that I like the peaks in this mesa here. In Java Edition, I want to show you a couple of cool locations to check out. One is this jungle temple. It's right near the edge of the mesa biome. Inside of the temple, you can find 2 chests with loot. Check out this view of the temple with the mesa peaks in the background. The other location to check out is this place here. It's another jungle temple, but this one is right next to a village. The village has lots of buildings to explore and some wild terrain. Of course, the jungle temple has 2 chests with loot, but the main reason for checking out this seed is that spawn terrain, and the mesa doesn't hurt either. Next up, we have a seed that captures the Minecraft 1.18 terrain in its full glory. Another truly great seed for some building too. Look at these mountains and tell me these wouldn't be a great natural backdrop for a spawn city. Mountains like this make it so you have to do minimal work for a city when it comes to creating some useful terrain around it or a barrier. The flat terrain of the plains creates an easy area to work with too. I mean, this is such a perfect place to build, I think. Both versions of the game have some villages to check out near spawn too. In Java Edition, the village is pretty obvious to see. It generates on the edge of the mountains. This causes buildings to be in various elevations throughout the mountains. On the opposite side of the mountains, you can find another plains village. This one happens to be an abandoned zombie village, a version of the village that is more rare than a normal village. This is the first Bedrock village that I wanted to share. It's hidden behind the hills from the spawn area. Most of the village is around the same elevation with just a couple spots stretching onto the mountain. Overall, it's a pretty big village too. The second village is also on the edge of the mountain. It's also near this frozen spruce mountain here. I've mentioned already, but the backdrop of mountains for a village looks awesome. Gives some perspective of how a spawn build near a mountain could look, which brings me back to the point that this spawn area could be fantastic as a place to build. Entering the final 3 seeds, we have another seed with a mesa right next to spawn. As we already know, the mesa being near spawn is fantastic, but in this particular seed, that's not the main thing I want to show you. Firstly, there is a ruined portal in Java Edition right near spawn. It's a smaller sized portal, of course, with some loot, which I found some early game armor. Both the Java and Bedrock editions have villages in similar locations. You can see the coordinates to the villages on screen now. The Java village has 2 church buildings, and get this, the Bedrock village has 2 churches too. Some of the Bedrock village also stretches into the jungle. Inside of the plains biome, and within the village, there is a massive ravine leading to a dripstone cave. This is the main reason I wanted to show this seed. This dripstone cave is absolutely incredible. It's such a massive cave. Lush caves get much of the glory in the new update, but this cave shows just how incredible dripstone caves can be too. If you're looking for a seed with an incredible dripstone cave, I really recommend checking this out. Now we have another seed with mountains at spawn that help create a nice spawn building area. Similar to seed number 4 in this video, the plains around the mountains is relatively flat for building. Just another 1.18 seed with some mountains at spawn that create a nice natural spot to build. In Bedrock, there's a couple villages near spawn too. You can see the coordinates to the villages now. One of the villages generates with buildings on different elevations. One of the main things I like about this seed is that there is a valley between 2 mountain ranges. Traveling through it feels pretty awesome. I think there are various building opportunities here too. Whether that be a road through here, or transforming this into a river, or even a unique city on the mountain edges, this valley is a cool area. Flying around the mountains shows there are various other places to build here too, making the valley road idea seem even more relevant. Finally, on the edge of the Jagged Peaks mountains, you can find a village in Java Edition. The village generating here creates some wild looking terrain. The paths and buildings look crazy. Of course, the mountain location here creates another seed with a great spawn building location, including a useful valley between the mountains. Finally, to finish off this video, I want to share another seed that was shared to Reddit by Smurgly. This is another seed with a circular area of mountains with a meadow in the middle. As I said earlier, this is quickly becoming my favorite type of seed in Minecraft 1.18. The mountain area just provides such a natural barrier for a build. One little detail I like about this seed is the mountain arch here, just some awesome world generation. The Java Edition version of this seed is just a bit more special too. It actually has 2 villages that generate within the meadow area. This is the first village. It's a relatively small village overall. I think this building being all the way at the top of the mountain is pretty cool. This is the second village. This one also has a building at the top of the mountain, and this church generation looks pretty cool with it just sticking out like that. Like we've seen with other mountains in this video, there are various openings that lead right to dripstone caves. One of those openings is actually behind where the second Java village is. I can't say enough about how much I love the new caves in Minecraft. To not leave out Bedrock Edition too much, there is a village right behind these spawn mountains. It's got one long road of buildings with another road coming off of it, which has buildings going up the side of a mountainside. Right nearby this village is a pillager outpost. The tower looks cool, elevated between the 2 big hilly areas. Along with the tower, there is a cage, a tent, and some pumpkin scarecrow targets. But of course, that spawn area with the meadow within these circular mountains is what really makes this seed stand out. It's such peak 1.18 terrain. The 2 villages in Java Edition make it just that much better too. Well, there you have 10 seeds that are working for Minecraft 1.18 in both Bedrock and Java Edition. Definitely check out my blog for all the coordinates locations shown in this video. In the comments, feel free to share some seeds and information about them for people to check out. If you want to help me out, feel free to leave a like. For more Minecraft videos, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for all of my future videos. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'm out of here. See ya.